In today's video, I'm going to be covering a few of your questions on sharp focus and the best methods for troubleshooting sharp focus in the field, a few of the different tips and tricks that I use, and the best ways to ensure that you have sharp focus for every single shot. So I'm going to cover a bunch of different techniques in this video, and if you like this kind of stuff and you'd like to join my email list, I'll give you a whole list of PDFs, and they contain my step-by-step sharp focus shooting technique, as well as all my other camera techniques.
And when hitting your camera and your tripod can cause shake, and that can cause unsharp photos as well. So whenever I'm out shooting, I'll put the tripod down, and let's say the wind's coming from this direction, and I put the tripod here and I'm shooting this direction. I would stand between the wind and the tripod so it blocks the wind out around the tripod and the camera body a little bit. So sometimes you just swivel around your camera so long as you're not in the actual composition, and use your body to block any wind that's going to hit the tripod or camera and cause shake. So the number one thing that I think gets a lot of people is that they don't have a very sturdy tripod, or they don't set the tripod up so it's level. So make sure to check out my tripod video, which lays out all of the requirements that I see for a good tripod. But essentially, if you don't have a tripod that's set up level, meaning some of the legs are longer than others and the base is tilting at the top, it's going to cause any wind or any movement from you or even stepping near it to potentially move the tripod. So I know that seems like common sense, but it's crazy how many people I see not setting up their tripod level, and then they're just fighting against it the whole time, and their camera's kind of balanced off the side. So check out my tripod video if you haven't yet, and make sure to follow all those guidelines. The second thing you can do is you can make sure that your camera is on at least a timer, or you can do mirror up with a timer. So basically, some cameras have the ability to do what's called mirror up mode and then combine it with a timer. So mirror up mode just means you push down the shutter button, the mirror goes up, and then it waits a few seconds, maybe 3 or 5, and then it takes the shot. Now if you're shooting with a Sony AR7 or any Sony of the mirrorless line, then you're not going to have mirror up mode because there's no mirror in there. But that works for the DSLR people. If you're shooting with a mirrorless or a DSLR, put a 3-second minimum or a 5-second timer on your camera, even if you don't have mirror up mode. So what that does is it lets you push the shutter button, then it counts for 5 seconds, and then that will dampen out any shake from you touching the camera, from you standing near the camera, or for any other movement you might have caused. That 5 seconds delays it, and then the camera is completely balanced out back to steady state before it takes the shot. And you'd be surprised at how much of a difference little things like that can make. So when I take a shot and I'm out shooting landscapes, I'll push that shutter button, and then I'll actually step back away from the camera in many circumstances, and I'll want to make sure that I'm not moving it anyway by like stepping or moving around. So if I'm going to stand near the camera, I don't step or move while it's taking the exposure.
I wanted to give you guys a quick heads up. Right now, if you join my email list, I have a 10-day free trial, which gives you unlimited access to all of my photography courses. Now, these courses teach every single technique that I use as a full-time wilderness photographer. So you'll learn camera technique, you'll learn photo editing, photo organization, composition, how to find shots in the field. You'll be able to access and watch dozens of my expeditions out into the wilderness where I take these photos and teach you how to create them from start to finish. I designed this school to be the perfect learning experience, something that I wish would have existed when I started wilderness photography, landscape photography, and outdoor photography 10 years ago. So if you'd like to join my email list, you'll get this 10-day free trial. You'll also get a bunch of other good stuff, including access to my PDF library, which includes all of my photography guides, which you can take out in the field to shoot with you. Check out the link down below this video to join and sign up. You can cancel anytime. I'll never hold your email address hostage. I want to provide you with the best learning experience possible. Now let's get back to the video.
So after you have all those baseline things out of the way, the tripod, having a timer or the combination of mirror up mode and a timer together on your camera, and blocking any wind movement, and not stepping or moving around while the exposure is taking, and if you need to, backing away from the camera if you're in an area that you think any movement from you is going to cause the camera to move, like leaning on a tree or something like that. So those are always things I take into account when I'm shooting. But those are the things that are going to make sure that it's not your actual shooting technique that is what's making your images unsharp. So what I would recommend to do after you do all that baseline stuff is to do some experiments with your camera. So read through my hyperfocal and back button focus guide, and it goes step by step with layout of instructions of my full shooting process for focusing and when to use different focusing techniques. I also have some videos on that I'll link for you, and you can watch through all that and really master that. But what I would recommend is taking your lens and practicing placing the hyperfocal distance when you're not actually out with pressure on you to capture a good shoot. So you could do this at your house, you could do this anywhere else, and do it like a scientific experiment where you're saying, all right, let's take this lens and I'm going to calculate where I think the hyperfocal distance is, but then I'm going to take an exposure there, and then I'll take some exposures focused closer to me and further away from me, and then do those practice shots, run through them each for f8, f11, f16, and f22. So each of those different shots moving the focus point from the hyperfocal closer to you a few shots in a row. So do like 3 shots in front of you, and then do 3 shots from the hyperfocal distance, refocus back towards infinity. Because doing these experiments, you have to take multiple different exposures, refocusing each time, and changing the f-stop. So when you do that, you're going to become more of a master at the craft of actually focusing and the process that you take to do that. So I would highly guess that it's one of those things. And if you go through that whole process and it doesn't even out for you, leave me another comment and we'll do some more troubleshooting. But my guess would be it's going to be one of those things. I think what a lot of people have happen at first is they don't realize that it takes a whole lot of time to get sharp focus on every single image, because there's so many different varieties of different compositional setups and depths of field that you could hit. And until you do it thousands and thousands and thousands of times, it's not just going to be something that you do automatically every time. So don't feel bad about yourself if you're not getting sharp focus on all your shots. Just practice and know that it takes putting in repetitions and work, and you will eventually get there because you'll figure it out using all the stuff I just laid out for you. But when I was starting out, I would have shots that were out of focus too, and now I often will have a shot that's out of focus, but it's normally when I'm moving around, and I can kind of tell from the length of the shutter speed, because I can hear it, and when I'm shooting it, that it's going to be out of focus. And that's usually just during handheld shooting. But on the tripod, you should always be able to get it in focus, and using those techniques, hopefully you'll figure it out. So let me know. Thanks for the question, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Thanks again for watching today's video, everyone. It was great to have you here. If you guys enjoy these videos and would like to help to support me to continue to create them, leave me a comment below with a question you may have had. I'll be answering them in future Q&A sessions. Also, leaving me a like or hitting the subscribe button to follow my channel is a huge help. I don't ask for anything besides that, but if you would like to sign up and join my landscape photography school, I have a 10-day free trial which gives you unlimited access to all of the courses that I have that teach every single skill set about landscape and outdoor photography. These are skills that I've tuned, honed, and designed over the last 10 years as a full-time wilderness photographer. So if you'd like to get free access, test out all the courses, learn composition, learn camera technique, photo editing, organization, everything else that goes into the complete creation of wilderness and landscape photography images, check out the link below this video. Get signed up. No strings attached, no credit card required. I just want to give you guys access to understand everything that I know about landscape and outdoor photography. So thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.